good evening. You're listening to 91.3 FM WBNY, Buffalo's original alternative since 1982, brought to you by the Buffalo State Student Activity Fee. I'm Elijah Robinson, General Manager at WBNY, and we have today for our latest performance, Cole Gallagher, who is here to perform, among other things, his latest single, Smoking Gun. How are you doing today, Cole?
I'm doing great. How are you, Elijah?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for paying a visit all the way from California to Buffalo State.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for having me.
Of course. So first question we have today is how long have you been performing so far?
Since I was 11, so about 8 years. Performing, like live performance?
Performing / just making music in a professional setting.
Okay. Well, I picked up the guitar at 8. I started performing around 13, and it wasn't until 2019 that I started recording. So there's a big old time gap there.
All right. And like during that time you weren't recording, like what was the outlet for your music? What were the platforms?
My dad's old iPod. I don't know. It was a kind of it was just kind of, I didn't really know anything about recording. So for the most part, it was just making voice memos and trying to remember everything that I said or mumbled to myself, writing-wise.
Sounds like my early days in getting to know recording devices.
Yeah, do you play?
I personally don't, but I know how to record things, and that's just as important.
Oh, cool.
So, how would you describe the genre of music that you perform?
Well, look, I love to rock, put it that way, but I think the best answer to that question is something that I heard from a couple different people, and I like to fit into this genre called AAA, basically singer. I'm sure you've heard of.
I have not. Please describe that for myself and our listeners.
So it's almost kind of like where as somebody, Greg Renoff, who wrote my bio, said it's where rock and roll shakes hands with Americana to some degree. And it's a lot more eclectic than just rock and roll, though, or even Americana for that matter. It's I'm trying not to pigeonhole myself.
Oh, that's definitely a great attitude to go with music, and that is the attitude we like to endorse here at WBNY too.
Yeah, well, and that's artists like Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan that really kind of make a whole bunch of different genres that kind of fit into their sound. Right.
And before we begin with your performance, is that genre particularly a new thing, or is this relatively recent, or
that I've decided to go down this way?
That and is it a new genre?
It's hard to. I'd say that it's more like singer-songwriter genre to some degree, and so it's kind of been around for as long as that's been around. I don't know the full history of it, but I'll say that the terminology I don't think has been used until recently. So AAA, you can call it new to some degree. It's old, it's classic, but it's there's a lot of different artists out there that are putting new twists on it.
Yep, it's not who did it first, it's who did it last.
Well, hopefully we don't find that answer too soon.
And with that, we will begin with Cole Gallagher's Smoking Gun. Yeah. Take it away.
What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4. La la da da da, 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 la la da da da,
La da 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 da, la da 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 da. When her hair's tied up in a ponytail and her papa's locked up down in the county jail, she heads down to the bar for a little fun. And as she walks the door, just like a smoking gun, she hollers, "Hey man, won't you pour me a drink? You know that I'm my old man, I'm just riding the brink. I made it down here all by myself, and I left it to man hanging up on the shelf, singing la da 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 da, 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 la da da da, la da 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 da. Just a few shots in, she said, "Pour me a glass. You know my dad is long gone. I'm feeling free at last." She put her hands on her hips and she was doing the swing. The men sat at the bar just watch her shake a thing, but she just kept to herself and danced all alone until a fella walked by and she had lit by the phone. Their eyes didn't meet and they were locked in a gaze. It seemed that all but forgot that they were stuck in the place, 'cause they were running fast and running blind. All that smoke in the room just seemed to blur the lines. You know, a motor is hot and her engine a sound, and when she blew him a kiss, his rock knees at the ground, singing la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da. To make the poor boy cry, and he just finished the glass instead of right in the eye. Let's get out of this joint and find a place to lay down. Got a spot stuck in mind, but you gon' need a new crown. Parked in the hotel lot to find a motel room. So walked to the door with Sam Sharp with a boom. She threw him down on the bed and he would witness the rain. And not a moment did pass before she laid on the pane, and they went la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da. So the evening now, you could hear his cries. Under his new God, he would be baptized. And when the sun came up, it did all but die. It was just a little death to keep him on her mind. And they were running fast and running blind. All that smoke in the room just seemed to blur the lines. You know, a motor is hot and her engine is sound. And when she blew him a kiss, his walking knees in the ground, singing la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da, da 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 da, la da 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 da, la da 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 da. Oh.
So nice. Very good performance.
Thank you.
Awesome. So, what, how would you describe, Smoking Gun as far as, what it is about to you? And also further describe, like, how you sort of like the songs to sort of be, digested by the listener.
I would say, well, it's kind of hard to describe exactly what the song's about to me. And like I was telling you before, I'm more interested in what other people think the song's about. But I wrote the song specifically to kind of express trying to think of the words here.
Okay.
Words happen to be failing me right now. I wrote the song to kind of express like this kind of larger than life figure, more or less, that I've found myself putting a lot of females in my life into that role, and the song's kind of about him. Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily about it, but I wrote it to empower females in that role.
Wow, that is a wonderful thing. I know for me, strong females have been fundamental to who I am today. So I definitely share that sentiment.
Yeah.
How would you describe your songwriting process? Where do you record? Who do you typically record and write with?
Well, I mean, as far as recording has gone throughout the past couple of years, I've done it in a couple different places, namely Sputnik Sound in Nashville. Actually, I believe it's in Berry Hills. It's run by Vance Powell. At a studio in Tustin, formerly called Reamp Studios. Now it's known as Voyager Studios. And that's run by my good buddy Chris Sikora. And we did some overdubs for the song I'll play after this at a studio called Montecito Music and Media. It's run by Billy Burke. And I'm joined today here by Barry Billings from Muscle Shoals, Alabama. And that's right? Or is this? Yeah. I thought maybe Sheffield.
Yeah, my address is Muscle Shoals, so.
All right. Well, and, he played on the last record that I went and recorded that Vance Powell produced. And so I've done 2 sets of recordings, and one of them was produced by Chris Sikora, one of them was produced by Vance Powell, and I've had some really amazing musicians hop on the project, and I can't even begin to express how thankful I am that they took interest in it. Namely, a couple of guys that'll be headlining the festival that I'm playing tomorrow or Saturday. That
is right. Going into that, for our listeners, we have 2 free passes to the Borderland Festival tomorrow. So first call, first serve. First one to call in will get those tickets. So make sure you call our number, 716-878-5104. Once again, 716-878-5104. First call, first serve. But back to the interview, how would you describe your songwriting process?
I'm hearing things in a room. What did you say? How would I describe my songwriting process?
Yes.
I've said it before in an interview, and said it in, I don't know, spoke to the bio writer about it, but it always comes up with the music first. I might have some idea of what I wanted to talk about, but the music comes first. The lyrics get thrown on, and it's not like they're an afterthought. But usually, I can't write anything unless the music is there and present. Something going on.
Yeah, we got a call. With that, I think we may have a taker. But while we are attending to that, we can move on to the next song, Chatting Through Steel.
Yeah. Oh, real quick before we do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's Chris Sikora's birthday today.
Oh.
Yeah, so we wanted to wish Chris a happy birthday.
All right.
We could formally sing happy birthday, or we could go into the song now. You know what? We're going to sing it to him later.
Oh, that sounds like a brilliant idea. So, Cole Gallagher, Chatting Through Steel.
Day trip down to the border, first a desperate crawl across desert plains, and whose eyes would still be watching while the world did go insane. Wars erect where we divide, till kingdom come we will not rise. Free a child stuck in a cage, or count the losses in our wage. Tell me, friend, why do you cry? Don't you miss home, as all do I? This ain't the place for you to grow, these ain't the jobs that you own. How I wanna settle down. Can't your new king afford his crown? I never felt that I was old, and if I wanted to leave, then I'd just go. Ice did fall on the Cali heat, and while the rich men sang, the poor men weep. Slowly watch the willows die. Midnight out on the bustling street, standing on a corner, torn just bare feet. I was choice to really have. Porque arroz, mi amor, no tienes fe en tu señor. Y tu padre, ¿dónde se fue? Así, gonna will you stay? How I wanna settle down. Can't your new king afford his crown? Never felt that I was old, and if I wanna leave, then I just go. Knapsack filled with your worldly cares. And did you pack a dream or two? If I turn you down, what will you do? How I wanna settle down. Can't your new king afford his crown? I never felt that I was on, wanna leave, and I just go. I wasn't looking here for free. My blood and sweat would pay for me. I wasn't looking here for free. My blood and sweat would pay for me. For me, God pays for me.
Awesome. So, listeners, we do have a winner. Pat McMaster from Orchard Park won 2 free tickets to the Nietzsche event where Cole Gallagher will be performing. I said Borderland. It's actually Nietzsche. So we have a winner, folks. Thank you for calling and listening to 91.3 FM WBNY. With that, so far, what has been the most exciting day of your career?
Exciting day. Well, I have one in mind that I can't talk about right now.
We have those days. How about the second most?
I think it was sitting down to record with definitely flying back to Nashville to record with Barry and Vance and Sadler, Vaden, Chad Gamble, John Eldridge, and Jimbo Hart on the bass, and 3 of those guys, they played with Jason Isbell. And I'd say that I was extremely nervous going into that studio, and they made me feel right at home, and we just kind of just mopped the floor with that record, man. It was a lot of fun.
So, I mean, what were you nervous about? Like, was that your first time performing in front of such immense talent, or you're in a professional studio? And what
I'd say
what settled your nerves a bit?
It's definitely a bit of both. I mean, they're extremely formidable guys, they're amazing players, and what I was so nervous about was this record we recorded live to some degree, or at least the bass, the drums, the guitars, and the keys, they were all recorded right in the room. You know, Vance hit record, and off we went. I overdubbed my stuff after the fact. It's because at that point, A, I was a bit too nervous to get it clean, and B, we were developing the parts after the fact a little bit more and getting them more honed down. There was a lot of changes that were made to the songs I'd written, and that threw me off a little bit. But I think I was just really nervous because I'd just driven across the country to get to Nashville, and then I'm put in front of all these amazing musicians, and six-time Grammy Award-winning producer, and it's just like it was.
Who was that producer?
It was Vance Powell.
Vance Powell. Okay.
Yeah, and it was just a really surreal experience, and especially because I didn't think people of that caliber would ever be interested in the music I was writing. So it was a pleasant surprise, I'd say.
Yeah, they seem true about their craft like you do, Cole.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, they're, like I said, they're formidable guys.
Yeah. And you're talking about a record you're working on. Any date or time when that record may be released? EP, LP?
So I could say that there's a single coming right at the end of October. It's that song that I just played for you. And
Chatting Through Steel, correct?
Yeah, and there's no I'd say that probably by the end of the new year, we're trying to avoid the fourth quarter if we can. We probably end up dropping the EP. But beyond that, no. There's not much else I can say. There might be some other stuff coming, but we're keeping a lid on it.
Sounds good to me. So moving on from that, we have Lost Sounds. Take it away.
Yeah. I was going to say this song and Barry and I wrote together.
I'm going to ask you a lot about this later.
All right. If the sun won't drop and the birds' songs stop, when the hills can't fight against the rising streams, I'll wait right here for God's voice to steer our path to the promised land. Oh, I wanna hear that sound, peace and forgiveness now. And can't you show us out before we all fall down in the dark of our pride, out of sea, lost in time, when our peers and our neighbors have all passed away. City streets without lights, broken dreams, knew no height, and the walls that we built have all but crumbled away. I'll wait right here
before we all fall down. When bombs fall down in the place where we held our ground, and those who carried our flame perish from it now. Oh, I wanna hear that sound. Peace and forgiveness now. Can't you sort us out before we all fall down? I wanna hear that sound. Peace, love, forgiveness now. Can't you sort us out before we hit the ground?
Beautiful. I really love that. That's probably the best song I've heard all day.
Hey, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah. So, you talked briefly about your friend, featured performer, talked about Muscle Shoals, which I believe is where this song was demoed. Would you mind talking about that a little more?
Yeah. So Barry Billings and I wrote it right after we can't remember the exact date, but we had just gotten back from kind of laying down the foundation of the album that Vance produced, and my dad and I were headed down to Mississippi just to go check it out again. We driven by Clarksdale a bunch of times, just find the music and all that. But on the way, we spent a couple nights in Florence, Alabama, and Muscle Shoals, and kind of between the two cities. If you don't, they're literally right across from each other, divided by the Tennessee River. And Barry and I had gotten together one night, and we just started jamming, and I can't remember exactly why we were meeting up, but the song came out of it, and working on some other material too that night. But it was just I don't know. I guess it just all worked out. It was a lot of fun.
I see.
I can tell you this about
Yes.
it. I remember Cole just being in a zone, and he was just like staring at his notebook and writing really fast. And I thought, I'm not going to mess with him. He's in a zone. So that's where I'd say most of that lyric came from.
Yeah. Well, it was a collaboration as far as the music end goes, for sure. But I just sat there nailing away the lyrics that night, and I think it was literally the next day we went and demoed it in Fame Studios.
Fame
with Spencer
Studios,
Coates, yeah.
Where? Where is
in
that?
Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and well, that's an amazing studio in and of itself, and it was a lot of you're standing somewhat in the pantheon of where a lot of insanely talented musicians have been and recorded.
Like, what's to name a few? What's some examples?
Etta James,
Aretha Franklin.
Oh, oh yeah.
Otis Redding.
Right. That's where the latest biopic was filmed, right?
I don't know if it was filmed there, but it was about that.
Oh, I see. I see.
I think there's a couple of documentaries about the Shoals, and there's Muscle Shoals Sound just up the road there in Sheffield, and some really cool, amazing music has come out of that area. And when I got down there, it's a extremely inspirational place.
Yeah.
It's a funky town, just like Buffalo, New York.
Indeed. And, I mean, you talk a lot about the South. How much influence does the South have on your music? You explored that a little bit just now, but that goes to like what are some of your musical influences? To go into a little bit of detail.
Well, I'm from Southern California, so a lot of I honestly don't know exactly where or how all the influences from the South got to me, but I say like my dad and I used to just sit around and listen to Springsteen all the time, and from there I sort of broadened my horizons. I have an extremely deep love for Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. I mean, and that was sort of introduced to me like right at the tail end of elementary school. And so from there, I knew I wanted to pick up the guitar, and when I finally did, I was trying to learn Comfortably Numb and just all these amazing songs that had really touched me. And so I'd say that a lot of Southern music has had a pretty profound effect on me, and has influenced my writing in a inquantifiable amount. Stuff rubs off on me subconsciously. I don't even realize it, and sometimes I'm starting to write a song and it's somebody else's song, and I'm like, oh, I know that one.
That's the best kind of influence one can have over somebody.
Yeah.
And one more question before we move on to the last song. So let's. What is the song you're most proud of at this moment? With all of you that you've recorded, released or unreleased.
That's a tough question. There's a lot of songs that have had I had either my own personal struggles with, or it was just a total pain in the rear to try and arrange and get everything together for it. Or I was hearing an instrument that we didn't have access to, so we had to start calling people and figure out where we could get that either sent in from, or have somebody come down to the studio. And but I think the song right now, there's two that I'm most proud of, and they're on two separate records. One I'm definitely most proud of was a song called New Teal that Chris Sikora and I had created together. And I'm hoping to unveil that in the very near future, but there's just so much going on in it. There's horns we used. He slid a guitar through a organ Leslie, and background vocals, strings. It just actually the horns were recorded by Wesley Watkins of I believe that's just the name of his project. It's Wesley Watkins, and he had played with Nathaniel Rateliff before, and he's kind of he's hit big on like a really cool music scene in Colorado there, jazz scene, and believe Denver, possibly Boulder, but he was a real nice guy to talk to, and he did a great job on that song. The other song that I wanted to talk about was one called The Ocarins of the Tennessee. Barry Billings here played on that with me, and same deal. I think I like both those songs because they're big in arrangements. Like, there's a lot going on, but they were extremely personal songs to me, and I couldn't have imagined them more beautiful than they came out.
For those songs, I mean, for that song in particular, like, could you describe like what influenced its personal nature briefly?
The Ocarins, I would say what influenced it was definitely the South, actually, and tried to describe a town that I had never been in. And, I mean, I had seen pictures of it and watched documentaries about it. It's actually I was trying to capture a feel that was within Florence and Muscle Shoals, actually. The song, it's all based around the Tennessee.
All right.
It's Tennessee River, that is.
Yes. And lastly, for real this time.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself performing as an artist in the near future?
Bars.
Bars.
I'm going back to California, and we're going to be playing bars. I'm going to be working my band. We have we're working out a residency at this place called The Mix in Pasadena. Mm-hmm. And so when I get back there, we'll be doing either Tuesday or Wednesday nights there at the MIXX. And they're, you know, I used to play blues jams there, but I mean, we'll be doing some bars, and then maybe we'll work up to some opening gigs or something. I have no idea, truth be told.
All right.
But that's a good question.
Of course. And with that, we go to the final song, and take it away, Cole.
All right.
Got a problem on her hands, takes a beating every day from Johnny's right hand. Everybody knows him, but no one says a word, so I'm headed up to Norman, give Johnny what he's earned. The cops want him once, so I shot him twice, and I came a knocking, I had no advice. Johnny met his end at the barrel of my gun, and now he's laying in a ditch off the I-41. Nobody's gonna get you, well, I'm not gonna tear you down. Crying when the judges come around. We're just another injustice trying to move outside to find a man with some boys who got to feel his mind. Said he wouldn't tell their mama they was playing in their back. He promised not to tell her, so they take a litter or a jack now. Nobody's gonna judge you, well, and I'm gonna tear you down. 'Cause your heart took it further, oh, and now all that's said is done. And if you're hanging in the middle, I got an honest look at you. You tasted and all that bad tequila that's gonna go to waste in a black fastback with the sword up on my belt. I got a cold dish collar and a justice left undone. And nobody's gonna get you, and I'm gonna tear you down. Crying when the I just come around. Oh.
Excellent performance, guys. Thank you. So before we send you off, would you mind telling us about your social media accounts where our listeners can reach you at?
Yeah, I believe everything's under Cole Gallagher Music. It's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think that one might be Cole KG Music, but yeah, Cole Gallagher Music on Instagram. And what else do I have here? There's a TikTok too. I'm actually not very active on that, but
neither am I, Cole.
Oh, I'm glad we have that in common, man.
Yes.
I'll say this, man. I get the appeal of it, but I just have a really hard time making those videos for one, and anything beyond that for two. I just feel like it just a time suck. It like I'm looking at my phone for what I think is 5 minutes. The next thing I know, it's time to go to bed. You know. Like,
that's exactly how it's supposed to work. So yeah, and with that, please stay tuned for 91.3 FM WBNY because we will continue to play more of Cole Gallagher in the months and hopefully years to come. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Cole Gallagher, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Cole.